Everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be a tag video. I am going to be adapting the get to know reader tag. I believe originally it was about romance and then it was switched to fantasy, which I will do that version too, but I thought I would adapt the questions to sci-fi because I apparently made it my mission on Booktube to convert everyone to sci-fi. If you haven't seen it, I did so many like beginner's guide to sci-fi and everything. So yeah, I thought it would be fun. So let's do this version and I'll also do the fantasy one in the future. Question number 1. What is your sci-fi origin story? How you came to read your first sci-fi? I feel like I've read my whole life, so it's kind of hard to look back and find the first one. But the first one that I do remember, I've talked about it in the past, obviously in French because I used to only speak French. I remember the Peggy Sue series. I think I read the first like 4 books and then it became too weird, repetitive / romance heavy. So even teenage Emily wasn't really into romance. This girl had like kind of a superpower with her glasses. She could hurt these aliens. Yeah, just saying it out loud, it's kind of weird. But yeah, I did enjoy the first 2 books, I believe. So this is like the first series, the first sci-fi book that I can think of that I read. So it's been a while. I don't know how old I was, probably like 12 or something. So that's definitely the first one that marked me. Question number 2. If you could be the heroine of a sci-fi novel, who would be the author and what's one trope you'd insist to be in the story? I think we all know where this is going. The trope obviously would have to be First Contact with Aliens. That's like my thing right now. Or I used to read a lot of these, which actually, if you still have recommendations, I'm hoping to read a couple more so I can get to do a video about that topic. But people reliving their lives or you know, day over and over again, I'm always on the lookout for more because I've read maybe like 4 or 5 and I feel like I need a little bit more to do that video. But yes, one or the other would be ideal for me. And who would write it? Maybe Becky Chambers. I feel like it would be a guarantee that it would be very wholesome and just, yes. Especially like her latest book, I'm always raving about it. I will not stop raving about it. To be thought if fortunate. Such a good book. But yes, wholesome. I feel like her sci-fi are just always full of great representation. Her writing is beautiful. And actually the latest book, the one I just mentioned, was a First Contact with Aliens. So she can do it for sure. Question number 3. What is a sci-fi you've read this year that you want more people to read? See, this is my moment to shine. I adore this book. You will see it nonstop until the end of the year. Like every video I can include it in, it will be included because I want everyone to read it. Actually, let me grab it. There you go. It's a tiny book. It's like 140 pages. And like I said, it is a First Contact with Aliens. It is, let me just remove my designs, I can't deal. It is so much easier to speak now. But yes, like I said, it's the First Contact with Aliens. You're following 4 individuals who are sent on a mission to research 3 planets, 1 moon, to try and see if they can find some type of form of life. And the book starts with, I like a good first sentence. If you read nothing else we sent home, please at least read this. So something has happened, you don't know what, and obviously you go back in time and see what they went throughout that mission. And it's very wholesome, it's very character driven, it's pretty deep, I would say. It's not too heavy on science, even though there's a good amount in there too, so I feel like it just gives you a little bit if you are more of a beginner into sci-fi, although if you're watching this video, maybe not, but I adore this. Yeah, I feel like it's one of those books that as soon as I was done with it, I wanted to reread it, and I don't reread books like ever. Usually if I do, it's like in the month of December, it's coming, so I will probably will happen because I read it this year, but it was an automatic 5 stars, and I don't give 5 stars often, so a must read for sure. Question number 4, what is your favorite sci-fi subgenre? What subgenre have you not read much from? So I had to look that up because I feel like I don't know. What are they? So I found a ridiculously long list. So I'm going to just mention a couple of the ones that are favorites. I mentioned them a little bit. So things I don't really care about. Let's start with the ones I do enjoy. Immortality. Yes, for sure. Always a good one. I didn't know Mundane was a good one, but I feel like that kind of works for Becky Chambers in the sense that I feel like it's very character driven and wholesome, which is not something you see often. So I do like those. I used to be obsessed with anything that was like post-apocalyptic. Not so much lately. I feel like I kind of got over it a little bit. Time travel, absolutely. First Contact with Aliens, obviously. I don't really read weird subgenre, which I know this author definitely does some weird stuff, and I'm looking forward to reading some, but I haven't read any yet. I feel like I've never had a good experience with virtual reality. So I would include it in my list of things that I'm a little hesitant, so that's probably a no too. Yeah, those are kind of the ones. Oh, military. Yeah. I never like military anything really. But every time I would read either post-apocalyptic or, you know, space sci-fi that was really focused on military, I just don't care for it. Whether it's The Forever War or if it's Ender's Game, there were more reason than just the fact that they were military that I hated them, but those are like two that really pop into my mind. Same thing with World War Z. I feel like I should have went into that one as an audiobook, but yeah, it was very war heavy and I just don't care. So yeah, those are probably the ones that I just, not a fan. I would be actually curious to hear your favorite ones because I feel like sci-fi is so vast, so many options. Question number 5, who is one of your auto-buy sci-fi authors? I actually did a series recently where I went through like the ones that I would never read again, the ones that I automatically purchase and read, and the ones that I want to read more of. So I'll link that down below if you are interested. Obviously, Becky Chambers, obviously. Brandon Sanderson, even though he's not really sci-fi, but I will absolutely continue to read the Skyward series. I feel like I could include Blake Crouch in here, even though he usually writes like thriller sci-fi, but we'll include that in here. He has the Wayward Pine series that I enjoy, and then Dark Matter and Recursion. So I will read more by him, future books. I don't like his old stuff though. I feel like even though I've read like maybe like 100 sci-fi since I started Booktube, I don't feel like there are that many authors that are specifically sci-fi authors that I tend to read everything, or that I've read enough to feel like I would automatically read everything. Like even if I think Adrian Tchaikovsky, the author of Children of Time, I feel like I've read a lot of his books and I will continue to do so, but I feel like he's kind of in between sci-fi and fantasy depending on his series, so that could be one. Let me just include a couple that I'm looking forward to reading just for fun because I feel like they're more like sci-fi authors and I haven't read that many. Oh, actually one more that I'm thinking, Michael Crichton. I did enjoy Jurassic Park, obviously, and I enjoyed the Andromeda Strain. These are the only 2 books that I've read by him, so I feel like is it really an automatic read? But I'm looking forward to reading Sphere. Ted Chiang, the author of Stories of Your Life and Others, and he also wrote another short story collection that I enjoyed. So 2. It's not enough, I feel like. But yes, I'm looking forward to reading some books by Peter F. Hamilton and Alastair Reynolds, I think. Those are 2 authors that I have a couple books by them on my shelves that I feel like are more like hard sci-fi, like well-known authors. So yeah, that's on my TBR. Number 6, how do you typically find sci-fi recommendations? Honestly, Goodreads, or I'll just look up and sometimes find another website. I'll come back in a second. I try to be really specific though, because I feel like sci-fi is so general, and if you don't look further, you'll always have the same 10 books, which definitely subscribe. There might be a video coming with that topic. Yeah, I tend to specifically look either, like I said, I used to be really into post-apocalyptic, so I would look for that specifically. Right now it's more first contact with aliens or people reliving, like I said, their day or their life. So you have to be really specific to find new ones, or I'll just go to library sales and then I'll look in that section and then just Google, look on Goodreads or something, the ratings. So not necessarily lists in those cases. Again, specific on the website, I'm thinking like Reddit, but you have to be so specific. I tend to be more like into the section like suggest me a book where they tell you like, okay, I enjoyed that specific one, give me something similar. Otherwise, people, if you just go in like the best book they've ever read in those genre, like sci-fi, it's always going to be the same books that I don't care for. Like if I read The Hitchhiker's Guide to Galaxy, if I see one more person say it's the best book they've ever read, I will have to eat glass. Like I can't. Like I did not enjoy that book whatsoever. And I feel like I also always see Ender's Game, The Forever War, like I said, these 2 I didn't care for. Dune, which I really did not care for. So I feel like, you know, the specific ones that meh. So yes, Goodreads and some very specific section of Reddit. And yeah, otherwise it's just the ones that I see at my library. I'll just look Goodreads or reviews, see if it's at least a topic that I'm into, and then I'll just give them a shot. I feel like I'll forgive sometimes books that are kind of so-so if the theme, like the topic is really interesting. So I feel like that's kind of how I end up finding books that maybe you don't see a lot on Booktube. What is an upcoming sci-fi release you're excited for? Where do I start? I did start doing my Goodreads list of, like, I have a shelf for upcoming releases for 2021. So again, I mentioned Becky Chambers, the 4th book in the Weirwood series, even though they're more companion novels, is coming in next year. I think it's like January, February, hopefully. Early 2021, and she's also coming out with a new series about robots, and I think that the name of the series is called Robot and Monk. So I'm really curious to see where this is going to go. But yeah, that's another series that's coming out, I think in June, again, 2021. I believe next year is also going to be the year that the 3rd book in the Skyward series by Brandon Sanderson is coming out. So ooh. How did I forget that? 2021 once again. Andy Weir, the author of The Martian, he's coming out with his 3rd book, and I don't remember exactly what it is about, but I know it's sci-fi. So we're nervous here because we did not like, I don't know why I say we, maybe Emily with her fangs. We are very nervous because Artemis was, but The Martian is one of my favorite books / audiobook. It's such a good audiobook. So definitely looking forward to reading his newest work as soon as possible. Question number 8. What is one misconception about sci-fi you would like to lay to rest? That it's inaccessible. Everyone is so intimidated, I feel like, on Booktube about like sci-fi. It seems like such a weird concept. But then everyone has read like the Hunger Games and stuff. Like, you guys have read plenty of sci-fi. Like, why are you afraid of it? So it's probably why, again, I've been making it my mission to like keep recommending a bunch of it. It's about like 25%-ish of my reading every year. It's not the only thing that I read. So yes, I do tend to do those videos. Again, I'll link some because it's so much more accessible than you think. I feel like sometimes people only think sci-fi, like hard sci-fi, like alien, spaceship. And even though obviously they are part of sci-fi, there's so many different subgenres that it's so much more accessible than people think. So yes, definitely will keep going on my rants and list to recommend sci-fi to everyone because yes, I love it. Question number 9. If someone had never read any sci-fi before and asked you to recommend the first 3 books that come to mind as places to start, what would those recommendations be? One thing that I tend to recommend a lot to people is The Egg by Andy Weir. It's available online. I think it's like 3 pages. It's a short story and it's sci-fi and it's mind-blowing. I feel like everyone always like says, oh, you know, I don't really read sci-fi, and I'm like, read this, and then every time they're like, oh, this was really good, and I'm like, I know. Even people that don't really read, it's so good. Like, you need to read it. I'll try to link it down below. Let me know if I forget. But yes, definitely recommend that one to begin with. If you're more into like classics, but like modern classic, I had mentioned Flowers for Algernon, which I feel like it's still considered sci-fi. It's very, again, accessible, beginner friendly. Any of the books that I mentioned in this video would work, but I think I'm going to go with this one for my 3rd recommendation. This is an absolutely remarkable thing by Hank Green, just because, once again, beginner friendly. If you're someone that reads a lot of contemporary, I feel that seems to be like YA contemporary seems to be the thing on Booktube. This made it to my most surprising books of 2019 just because it's not what I expected. You're following this main character and she becomes YouTube famous because she's the first to encounter these aliens. We're gonna leave it at that. It's very, again, beginner friendly. I do think most people would enjoy it. So yeah, overall very different suggestions, but I feel like at least one of the 3 should work for someone. And the last question is to recommend someone, a creator on Booktube that does sci-fi video. Please let me know some. I feel like I have been not watching YouTube videos like at all. I have been so busy with the whole pandemic thing, like working and then trying to film and staying sane. Not been easy. So yes, please let me know in the comment section your favorite sci-fi creator on Booktube because I feel like they're not known enough and I would love to find more. So it's gonna be it for this little book tag. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe, and I will be putting more videos on the screen that I recommend you check out, and I will see you in my next video very soon. Bye.